James Ellsworth the luckiest wrestler alive?
Vince wants to see you, which never happens, and I look right up at it, just him and I. Your facial expressions are great, your verbiage was great, your selling was great. I have no choice but to hire you. Oh, you're too small, you're too skinny, you're not good looking, you're not, one year out the other. No one's really an underdog anymore. Right? And an underdog story in any form of entertainment is a great story. What if I told you you were beating the WWE Champion tonight and the winner gets a SmackDown contract? You're going over. I always got a kick out of working for Vince McMahon. I'm like, this dude right here, he gave me my dream.
You're the first man to win the women's Money in the Bank.
This is the first ever women's Money in the Bank. You can't do this. And Vince goes, God damn it, that's why we do it. When I was starting out at wrestling school, I was 17. I was 4 days fresh off of high school. Essentially, my first match, on 30 people against Mickey James. He's like, well, Axl died. Between a Motel 6 and McDonald's. That was February 2016, and then the Braun Strowman match happened in July. He missed it by that much. It's a 90-second match. Best match I ever had. And they're all kind of like, who's this guy? You know, Jericho told me. He's like, we're all kind of like poking fun at you. Road Dogg goes to Becky. Plans changed. Ellsworth politic to get the finish switch. You're never going back to WWE. You're not going to get back there somehow. And I, didn't sell the pop, right? You can't sell that either. You can't sell the good, the bad, or the ugly. Don't sell anything.
Don't sell it.
Another great piece of advice. Don't sell nothing.
You got a crazy story, dude.
You got to remember, at the end of the day, any man with two hands has a fighting chance. Who would have thunk it, right?
Let me get rid of cigarettes. Give me a countdown, will you?
Blood streaming, 10,000 screaming!
Yeah. Baltimore, you will never guess what I'm watching.
My name is my name. You chose to live in Baltimore. What's wrong with Tim?
Do not attempt to walk straight or adjust your gait. This is Limpin' Ain't Easy. I am your handy-captivating host. My name is Timmy Baltimore. Hey, what are you doing? Don't hesitate. Go to the bus stop and hop on the short bus. Click like, click subscribe, comment on our content. We're glad you did, because this show is the bomb. Speaking of the bomb, my guest today, any man with two hands has a fighting chance of having a podcast.
Or being on a podcast.
Or being on one. He is James Ellsworth, the TV legend. Welcome, James.
Glad to be here, man. I've known you a long time. And, this is so much fun, man. We go so far back, so this is cool to do.
Yeah, it's interesting to think about where we started, particularly where you started, and your crazy roller coaster of a ride that is your career, that I'm not sure anybody could have guessed. Before we get into the absolute Cinderella story, and I mean that in the nicest way, right, that is the James Ellsworth story. Can you tell us what is important to James Ellsworth and why it's important?
Well, first, the most important thing to me personally is my family. Happily married man, have two beautiful daughters. First and foremost, that's the most important thing to me. And then wrestling, that's my second love outside my family. It's always been wrestling, man. Loved it since I was 5 years old. But, obviously family first, and then wrestling, definitely the second most important thing to me. Yeah.
Do you recall your earliest wrestling memories growing up?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. So like 1989, I'm 5 years old. And the first match I can remember seeing, and it might have happened before 89, but the first, maybe I saw it on a VHS, was the Ultimate Warrior losing the Intercontinental title to Ravishing Rick Rude. Oh, wow. That's the first match I remember seeing. Yeah. So the Ultimate Warrior is the first wrestler I remember being a fan of. I was like, wow, this guy looks larger than life. Cool, the face paint, the hair, the muscles, the run into the ring, all that stuff. And then I remember around the same time, I turned the other channel on, or I had another VHS or whatever, and I remember seeing the Rock and Roll Express. And to me, they just look like your cool uncle or something. Like they look not like larger than life, or like they just look like somebody that was in your family that like looked different from
at the cookout.
Yeah, my version of the cookout, right? 89 Ultimate Warrior, Rock and Roll Express. Those are the first wrestlers I remember.
Did you go to any of the? Growing up, I went to the Cap Center for WWF and to the Baltimore Arena for WCW, NWA. Do you have any memories of doing things like that? Going to live events?
My grandfather would take me all the time. We were spoiled here in Baltimore. Like you mentioned, NWA would come here, WCW would come here, and so would WWF, WWE now. And yeah, he'd take me a lot. Like I didn't have cable growing up, so anytime, like, you know, my grandfather would tape Superstars for me or Raw or NWA or whatever. He would tape it for me on VHS, and when I would go to my grandparents' house on the weekends, I would catch up on it all. And he would take me to the Baltimore Arena to see WCW, see WWF, and man, I was there like when Ron Simmons beat Vader and I was very young for like the world title. I was probably like 6 or 7, but I remember I was there for that. Remember just house shows like The Undertaker facing Yokozuna in casket matches, and just stuff like that. Tons and tons of memories going to the Baltimore Arena when I was a kid.
What was life like growing up for you, James? You mentioned your grandfather, and I could see like a twinkle in your eye. He was obviously somebody very, very important to you. Can you talk a little bit about growing up in the area and growing up as James Ellsworth?
Yeah, for sure. I grew up in Baltimore, and like I have great parents, first very, very good people. Growing up, they didn't have their act together like they do now. Like now they live in a nice suburb with a beautiful, in like swimming pool, like built-in swimming pool, big, huge yard. When I was a kid, we didn't have any of that. I make fun of my parents all the time. I'm like, where was all this when I was a kid, right? Like, so I grew up in Baltimore. Our backyard was concrete. We didn't have grass or anything. We'd have the air conditioning that was in the window, no cable television. And I'm not knocking my parents. They did the best they could. They always made sure there was food on the table growing up, made sure I got to school. But, it was a little rough, and it's okay. Tough times make you a tough person, I believe. For me, personally, inside and outside of wrestling, I went through a lot of tough times, but it always made me a tough person. And I appreciate those times. And I'm like I said, my parents are really well off now, and I'm glad they are. But I appreciated all they did for me growing up. Yeah, I grew up right here in Baltimore.
Yeah, talk a little bit about your grandfather and why he's special to you.
Oh, there's tons and tons of reasons, man. Like he, you couldn't have like a better grandparent, and my grandmother too. All 4 of my grandparents were great, but my this particular grandfather, my grandpa Walt, he was amazing, man. So we had a lot in common. Like we both loved wrestling, we loved football, we loved baseball. Big fan of the Ravens, big fan of the Orioles, big fan of so we had all that in common. So we always had things to talk about. And he would always take me to a baseball game or a football game or wrestling. And, anytime I'd see him, like I said, we just had so much in common, so much to talk about. And, anytime I needed anything, like when I was starting out of wrestling school, I was 17. I was 4 days fresh off of high school. I graduated on like a Saturday and I started wrestling school on a Tuesday. It's like that, those couple of days in between. And when I did that, I had to move away from my parents at a very young age, 17, and I had nowhere to go. So I would stay with my grandfather, or I'd stay with my Uncle Skip, who used to work here at MCW. I'm sure we'll get into that. I would bounce around, but if I ever needed anywhere to go, my grandfather was like, "Man, you could stay here. You're chasing a dream. This is cool." And he was just always there for me, man. You couldn't have a better grandparent. He really appreciated his kids, my mother and her sister and everything, and he appreciated his grandkids. And if I get to be a grandfather one day, I'm gonna be just like him for sure.
His name was
Walt.
Walt.
Yeah.
Big ups to Grandpa Walt. Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. So you go to the live events. You're watching, be it on TV, the VHS is probably doing the thing where you get to go to Blockbuster and you're retroactively viewing the catalogs.
Mm-hmm.
What point was there like a moment, inciting incident where you said, "This is what I want to do"?
Well, there's 2 answers to that. One, I could remember. I can't remember not wanting to be a wrestler. Even in kindergarten, we had to dress up what we wanted to be when we grew up, and the only wrestling costume I could find was Hulk Hogan, which I was never when I was a kid, I was a big fan of the Ultimate Warrior. When he beat Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania 6, talk about Blockbuster. I rented that video. I bet you I rented WrestleMania 6 because the Ultimate Warrior beat Hulk Hogan for the title at least 50 times. You know what I mean? Like every time my parents would take me, I'd grab that. Oh, again, you're watching this again. Yeah, man. So I can't remember not wanting, like even kindergarten, like I said, but I remember that. Here's a great story, and we'll fast forward a little bit. So WrestleMania 11, I'm like 11 years old. I turned the same age as WrestleMania every year, which is an easy way to remember how old I am, right? This is a funny story. So I remember watching Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 11, walking to the ring with Jenny McCarthy. You know, and Diesel came out with Pamela Anderson, whatever.
Right.
But, you know, I'm 11 years old. I'm starting to like say, hey, girls are pretty cool, right? And I remember watching Shawn Michaels walk to the ring with Jenny McCarthy. And I was like, man, when I grow up, I'm going to be on WrestleMania and I'm going to walk to the ring with a hot girl. And we'll get a little ahead of ourselves.
Yeah.
WrestleMania 33, I walked to the ring with Carmella.
This is a hot girl.
I lived that dream.
How crazy is that, man?
It's crazy to even think about, yeah.
That's insane. Life is so funny like that sometimes, though, man. And wow. Yeah. So there was no real moment. It was just as far back as you can remember watching wrestling, you wanted to be in wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Now, guys like you and I, we weren't born 6'5",
right.
You know, have some things, you know, I have some disability things working against me. You had some size things working against you. Did that ever come into play in your mind when you were thinking about getting into this?
Yeah, man. Like, you know, especially when I started developing a mind for this. I mean, I'm like, man, I can watch like Monday Night Raw and look at myself and go, I'm not like cosmetically cleansing enough for that, or, you know, it would hit my mind, but I would always just stop thinking about it, let it go one ear out the other. You're too small. And growing up, like, you know, you watch the 1, 2, 3 kid pin Razor Ramon. I'm like, oh, he's small like me. And then my biggest inspiration when I started watching ECW was like Spike Dudley. And I'm like, man, it kind of just looked like a older version of me on television, right? When I was a kid, I'm like, man, if these guys can do it. And I can remember those inspirations because they were so few and far between. You know, 1, 2, 3 kids, Spike Dudley in the 90s, those are probably your two small guys that you know, and like Rey Mysterio even like had muscles and he had a mask on, made him different and tan. And, you know, so he didn't look like me, but he was small. But Spike Dudley and the 1, 2, 3 kid, like back in 93, they looked like me to me, you know? So
do you think, like, because I hear that and that makes a lot of sense. Now, though, it feels like the pendulum is swung so far in the other direction that it's not even special to be that size and be a hella great athlete. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many, with that Ring of Honor mentality came a lot of very smaller athletic guys. But what are your thoughts on that shift in the business?
Man, that's a great question. So, yeah, there's no one's really an underdog anymore, right? And an underdog story in any form of entertainment is a great story. I mean, if you watch Rudy or even like Rocky's gimmick, like that movie, he was an enhancement boxer.
Yeah.
You know, that was supposed to be doing an enhancement job.
Yeah, he got his shit in, though.
And he got his shit in, and he got a job out of it, you know?
Right.
You know? And like now, man, and here's my real thoughts on it. Growing up, like we're talking about Ultimate Warrior, these guys, like everybody, especially on WWE television in the golden era, like you and I were like young kids then watching, everyone was larger than life. So if you were smaller, you really stuck out. Now, nothing against these guys. They're great athletes. Let me think of one. Like a JD McDonough, right? He's a great wrestler. He's a great athlete. And he's in good shape. And maybe being in shape helps, you know, it makes you look bigger. But like, it's like, man, you know, if you stick a guy like that, nothing against him. Like I said, I wish I could wrestle like him. You know, he's awesome. But like, if you stick him against Randy Orton, does it? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he could be an underneath underdog, but that's not the way he's featured. So for me personally, I like I'm a small guy and I like larger than life wrestlers and guys that look like wrestlers, the guys that fit the airport test, you know, past the airport test. You see them in the airport, you're like, wow, that guy must be something. And then, you know, for the smaller guys like myself or like I said, a Spike Dudley, like we were few and far between back in the day. And, you know, we would be the underdogs and we would have that story. Now I don't think you can tell that story too much because of that, right?
Yeah, I feel like it's a little watered down and diluted. And you have those guys had to be really special. Guys like you and Spike and
Like
yeah,
Zach Gowen.
Zach Gowen. These are real specialty stories. And because of that, they got the machine behind them, which, let's face it, that's the name of the game. Otherwise, it's you know, it's banging your head against the wall if they don't want you to get over, right?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. They you know, it's. I feel like they have an idea of who they want to be the top guys, right? And nothing wrong with that. But sometimes, you know, somebody might get over that's not supposed to be the top guy, and to me, you should run with that, right?
Sure.
You know?
You maybe even if you didn't factor it in, you gotta listen to the people. In your childhood, was there any obstacles you remember facing that you had to kind of overcome before getting into wrestling, or that followed you into wrestling?
Well,
It come to mind.
yeah, man. Like, you know, I'm different, right? What I mean by that is, yeah, I'm small, and people will probably look at me and go, man, I bet you he was bullied. And my answer to that is different, probably from a lot of other small guys. Like, yes, they would attempt to bully me. But I'm not a tough guy. I'm not trying to act all tough. But I just had this mindset from a very young age because of my father. Because my father was very tough. To go, man, you don't let anyone pick on you. Because if you let someone pick on you, they're going to continue to do it. And that was always my mind. So they would try because I was an easy target, right? And I would always just fire back.
Yeah.
And so I didn't get bullied a lot because of that. Like, I would get attempted to be bullied a lot. And I would fire back. And a lot of times it wouldn't escalate to a fight. People would just respect that you weren't going to let them push you around.
Yeah,
You know?
I think that's a valuable lesson, and I'm
Yeah.
curious, as a father, how you feel about that, because there's so much anti-bullying talk, but bullying, same shoes as you. People, obviously, because I have disability. I was tiny. I was ground beef if I was meek. You know what I mean? And I thought that too. I said they're going to have to understand that it's going to be a problem if they pickle me. It's not an easy kill. And that's kind of, I took that mentality as well. And I think that made us stronger in adulthood. Do you feel that way?
Oh, absolutely, man. I'm very blessed to have the thickest of skin. Like, I've been called all kinds of names, like, because of the way I look, or just, you know, false rumors, or just the way, you know, like, people didn't like the way I wrestle or what. And they'd say a lot of hateful things. And I honestly, and man, again, not trying to sound tough, just being honest. Like, since I had a tough time as a child, people trying to bully, and I would fire back. Like, same thing with like that. Like, I am blessed to have thick skin, and I just let it roll right off me. It's a blessing, because a lot of people aren't lucky and fortunate to have that mindset, and I understand that, and I completely get it. But for me, thank God, man. Like, I don't.
Right.
Care. Like, I ignore the ignorance, you know?
Yeah, it could eat you alive if you don't, right? Really easy too to anonymously do that
Yeah.
nowadays. Nobody has to come to your front door. Like back in the day, you say, come outside, you, right? You know, and now it's just from God knows where.
Oh, these phones, man, and these tablets, it's ruined the world. Like, I think people are so, not just bullying and all, it's just so distracted by it. And so, like, just addicted. And, they read something, they don't know if it's true or not. They're not doing any research on it. They just, and like the country's divided, I think, because of stuff like this, and not to get political, but like really, and that's a shame, man. And I think we're lucky and fortunate that when our childhoods weren't attached to this. We're, like the last generation that didn't have to really deal with this.
We really were.
We
really were. And I think that lends a certain self-awareness to us. So you graduate high school, and it's time to go throw yourself on your back for 100 times a day.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
To hit override on that thing in your brain that says, I'm not supposed to fall backwards.
Yeah.
And you sign up to where we met, Bone Breakers Pro Wrestling School, which was the prelude school to MCW's Pro Wrestling Training Center. Can you talk to me a little bit about your earliest memories coming into Bone Breakers?
Yeah, I remember. So I started going to MCW shows when I was 15. So 2 years before I got into the business. And Chris Clow and Adam Ugly and I, you remember all three of us, we joined together, Bone Breakers. But we would all go to the shows together when we were, 15, 16, 17 years old. And we would tell like Dan McDevitt and Mark Schrader, like, man, when we graduate, we're coming to the school. And like, all right, see you then. And we would always ask questions. And and Dan to this day, he's Dan, like he's always straightforward. He goes, man, guys, I'll be honest with you, it's gonna be tough. It's tough. This ain't. We're like, it's this is I'm 15-year-old kid. Listen to this. I'm like, nah, man, I'm gonna do this. And I remember we signed up, all the same day, June the 5th of 2002.
Wow.
And I can remember the day because I remember the day I graduated. It was June the 1st. And man, I was so excited. And then I remember taking that first bump. And for a second there, all the hopes and dreams and possibilities of being a star were in question. I'm like,
sucked it right out.
And then I remember, in Arbutus there, and it's still there. There's a Burger King there at the, I'm talking Washington Boulevard or whatever.
Yep.
And I remember we went to Burger King after our first day, and we're sore, like you said, probably 100 bumps, and. Between doing your back bumps, your handstand bumps, your flip bumps, your face bumps, it'd be like 100 bumps a session. And I remember sitting at that Burger King, we're all sore, we're all looking at each other, and I was like, man, I paid $2,500 for this. I'm not quitting. I'm not quitting. Because it was, we none of us quit. Like, Chris and Adam and I, we were all buddies from high school, all got real close, and none of us quit.
That whole trio. Yeah.
And everyone else that was a part of our class quit. Everyone else. But we were all together.
Yeah.
And
do you think that's because you kept each other accountable?
I think we were very lucky to have each other back then. Yeah, man. We had thank God for that, man. I think we all did help each other. Sometimes, maybe Chris had a bad day of training, or Adam had or I had a bad day of training. We would all lift each other up. And man, I what, Brent? Like, I haven't thought much about that till right now. And I was like, that's cool to think about. Wow.
Yeah. I think it's important to think about that stuff, because I think back, the culture back then was a lot more abrasive and come down hard on you. And the generation before it was even harder. They'd break your legs, right? To see if you wanted it. In ours, they try not to break stuff.
We got slapped around a little bit.
Yeah, they slap the out of you and beat you up. They beat you up.
Yeah.
But they wouldn't, and they'd break your spirit, right? And that may be the worst thing of all. Did you have any moments where you thought, I don't know if I can do this?
Well, other than that first day, no, man, I just talked myself into it. Like, I think I told you this like a week ago at a show. We were kind of talking about doing this, and we were talking about Bone Breakers, and you're going, man, I remember they were tough on you. You said that to me, and I said, I'm happy they were, because it got me ready for a tough business. This is a very tough business, and if you need to have thick skin, and you need to have a strong mentality, and like you got to have those things. If you don't, it's going to chew you up and spit you out. It really is, and Bone Breakers got me ready for that. I'm glad they were tough on me. I'm happy I went through all that, because it got me ready. And not, nobody was abusive or anything. It was that's just the way it was. And I'm glad it was that way for me. And, I'm happy maybe people we're in a different era. Maybe they don't have to go through that as much, but I don't know, man. Just for me personally, it helped me a lot.
So you come through the training at Bone Breakers with your compadres, and how long is it till you guys are starting on shows?
So, man, well, the first time I ever wrestled like a match, kind of call it a show, we were, they would have those birthday parties, and they have them still to this day, where you get in front of a little crowd, and so this is October of 2002, and, I'm the only student there, and they had this girl there, and she needed somebody to wrestle, because she was there to wrestle a birthday party, and I think it's still to this day they do it this way. If somebody asks for somebody, requests, they would try to make it happen, right? So back then they requested this girl, and she was wrestling, but I was the only student there. And they're like, man, they gave me a mask because I looked so young back then. The wrestling business has aged me, but back then I'm 17, Right. So I put this mask on, and maybe it's like 30 kids at this birthday party. I'm like shaking, right? I have a mask on, never wore a wrestling mask in my life. And I have this match with this girl, and she's hit me with forearms, and the mask is going sideways. I'm scared. And we got through it.
Yeah.
And that girl's name was Alexis Lurie, who later on became Mickey James. So I was essentially my first match in front of people was a little birthday party at Bone Breakers in front of 30 people against Mickey James. You know,
Not too shabby.
After that, I would start like my MCW in 2003 took a hiatus until 2006, if you remember.
Mm-hmm.
So in 2003, man, it was on. Like I trained for a year. We had our little graduation or whatever. That last show at Michael's 8th Avenue, and then we didn't know what to do. We're like, I'm 18 years old. I have a year of training on birthday party matches. Nothing, of some substance on a regular independent show. So I would just get in the car and start going with people, I'll do like John Rambo shows in Hagerstown or Pennsylvania. Then, Mass Mike was running Maximum Championship. Well, it was CCW first, Capital City Wrestling in DC. This is 2003. And then I got Jimmy Zeke, Haida Pro Wrestling. I'm sure you're
sure.
This is all 2003, and I'm figuring it out, man. Like, I don't know back then we didn't have social media. If we did, it was MySpace.
Not even, word of mouth, really.
You didn't get booked off of MySpace, it just, so I didn't know what to do, but we would all get in the car and find these shows and just, you kind of escalated from there where you working all the shows in the area. And that's, I was off to the races.
That's kind of fun if you think back on that, right? That time.
Oh my God, yeah.
Kind of freeing. There came a point where, and correct me if I'm wrong, Axl Rotten became a big part of your life. Can you talk a little bit about how Axl came into your life and what he meant to you?
Well, absolutely. Like I said, when I was going to MCW shows as a young 15-year-old kid, Axl was on some of the shows or whatever. And so I got to know him a little bit. Then when I started Bone Breakers, he was there for like a cup of coffee. And then, how he would come in and out for,
Sure.
It would just happen.
It was a complicated relationship.
Mostly his fault. But whatever. Around, I would say 2005, he winded up in a car with me. And Axl had his demons. He had things about him that him and I didn't have in common, because I honestly have never touched a drug in my life. Like, let's consider a little marijuana here and there a drug, but like other than that, nothing. But he, would partake in his gimmicks or whatever. Mm-hmm. And so, but other than that, we had a lot in common. Horror movies, same kind of music, and we just became buddies. And, he did a lot of terrible things, but never to me. But I can honestly say that he never stole from me. He never, when he would be gimmicked up, he would do terrible things to people. He really would. And I'm not speaking ill of him because I love him. But he would do these things. I'm just describing what happened, right? Mm-hmm. And but we would start going to a lot of shows together and hanging out. And he knew that I wasn't into those things. So if he was real bad off on those things, he would leave me alone. I wouldn't see him for a couple of months. And then he'd hit me up, hey man, Motley Crue's coming to Frederick, Maryland at the fair. You want to go? And then we would go and he'd be okay. And we'd wind up doing 3 or 4 months in the car together to go to shows, and I was learning a lot from him.
He's a brilliant guy, wasn't he?
A lot of people don't know that. Like, you know that, and I know that because we were around him enough. And there's interviews with like Paul Heyman talking about how brilliant Axl was about wrestling, and Raven, these great minds in the business that everybody knows they're great minds, but Axl was one of them. You just don't hear about it enough because he did have those demons too much, and they ultimately, got the best of him. But he did have one of those minds, and I can honestly say I don't think I would have had any of the success I did have in the business if it wasn't for those car rides and him mentoring me about wrestling and getting the ring before shows. And like when Gilbert had a school for a little bit, we'd go up there and train. And the mentorship and the training that I got from him, like, it was just unbelievable, man. I was very lucky and fortunate to have that,
Yeah. So he took a liking to you in a way that he may burn other people, but he didn't violate the friendship with you.
Yeah, and I don't know why. I'm not, saying I'm cooler than everybody,
but there was something.
People thought, because if you look at him and then you look at me, they thought I was his little brother. We kind of look similar, got blonde hair, blue eyes, could
have run that gimmick.
Yeah, I look like a smaller version of him, But I don't know what it was. We just really worked tight, man, and I miss him to death. He did it. The demons caught up to him. The demons caught up.
It's a disease, straight up and down.
Can't do nothing about it, man.
Right.
If you ever read the heroin Diaries by Nikki Sixx, which he had that book.
Yeah.
And I asked him one time, I said, man, why can't you just stop? Why can't, like, a bunch of us had this talk with him, right? He said, I read this book. And I read that book. And if you never had the chance and you're into reading and you want to learn, read that book. And after I read that book, cover to cover, I was like, it's really, there's nothing he can do. He's in too deep. It's a demon. It's demons. Like they take control of you, and there's nothing you could do, and it sucks. So it'd be easy for me, who's never had those demons, to say, stop. And you're going, well, and the person that has those demons is going, well, how? Like I don't have the answers because I've never had those demons.
Right.
So, and yeah, man, it's a shame because, like you said, he was brilliant about wrestling. He could have been a trainer at the PC or coached PC.
I was going to ask you, where do you think he would be if he had gotten things together and were alive now?
Man, I could see him like agenting at TNA. You know what I mean? Something like that, where like Dreamer's there, one of the bookers or whatever. Like a Tommy Dreamer knows that Axl had that. That brilliant mind about wrestling. Somebody would, definitely gave him an agent job somewhere. I would, absolutely think that's where he'd be.
Was it heartbreaking for you? Because I remember, and I wasn't close with Axl, but, I would see how his aura almost when it was not great, but when he was doing better, he had like a sparkle in his eye, like a twinkle, and he was excited about the business.
Mm-hmm.
Did you experience that as well?
Wrestling was his other addiction, so wrestling would keep him okay for a while. And then unfortunately, the other addiction would get the best of him, but he loved wrestling, man. And I would love what he would shake it, the demons for a little bit, and we go out on the road, man. Some of the funnest times of my life, like wrestling him on shows and, Bone, Pennsylvania somewhere, and taking the chair shot from him. But we would, and I remember those matches, we wouldn't do like much, but the crowd be going nuts. And that's where I learned how to work. You know what I mean? From him, I learned how to work from him. And then people, like people you really respected would start looking at you differently, like a Christian York or a Joey Matthews that I knew since the first day of my career. They'd be on shows, well, man, you're improving. And I'm like, that's because I'm wrestling Axl all the time,
Right.
And they when you would say that, oh, you're on the road with Axl, then they were like, no wonder, that you'd have that respect from the people who knew him very well,
Yeah, what a gift. What a gift. So you're grinding away on the indies, you're hustling, you're doing what so few do. And maybe Bone Breakers or MCW shutting down was a blessing in disguise for you, because it gave you no choice but to hit the road
learn
and chase
real
it.
quick. Yeah.
Right. What was the indie scene looking like for you before you obviously got your big break? What, you started running shows? This isn't like a 2-year period of time. Some time has elapsed here, right?
Yeah.
Can you talk about that block of time and what was going on?
I started in 2002 and I got signed in 2016. So there's a 14-year just hustling, grinding, get as many matches. And here's the best advice I give to anyone who's young in the business. When I would be on indie shows, right? If Shane Douglas was on a show or Matt Hardy or just someone that was on television that did very well, I would pick their brain and maybe probably even get on their nerves. But if they were nice enough, like Matt Hardy was, and that's why I'm bringing up Matt Hardy and Shane Douglas, they were always nice enough to watch my match. And I would beg for them for the critiques. I didn't want to hear, a lot of people want to hear, oh, you did great. And that's all you're waiting for, right? That's all you're waiting. And I'm like, no. What did I do wrong so I can fix it? Because no match is perfect. Like, even to me, Shawn Michaels, The Undertaker, WrestleMania 25 is the greatest match of all time. Even that had a botched dive in it. You know what I mean? Like, something went wrong in that match. Like, no match is perfect. So, like I said, I bring up, and even Ricky Morton, too. I have to say his name as well, because he was always so great, to ask to watch your match. And I felt like, man, even back then, if I got this knowledge from all these guys that have traveled the world, done this for a living, been successful, maybe that can help me in some way. I always had that mentality, right?
Yeah.
And, like Matt Hardy, I wrestled, like, before I ever got WWE, I wrestled him a bunch, and he would always tell me, man, I like wrestling. You were so easy and you get it. Like it. That meant a lot to me, you know, but I would always just him and everybody else, please tell me what I did wrong. Maybe you should have done this here. Maybe you should have put this here. Maybe you shouldn't have done this. I loved hearing those things because I felt like I was getting that knowledge. And I remembered like they would all say almost the same thing. Like you got to have like these facial expressions. You got to tell a story with your face and your eyes, and you got to sell. You're small. You got to sell your ass off. If you're not going to do all the flips, because I never did. I was just always like, I didn't want to bang up my body. I can do a moonsault. Believe it or not, no one's ever seen me do it because I don't want to land on my knees and bang my knees up, honestly. Like, you know, and so I needed to sell and I needed to learn how to work and I needed the facial expressions and it definitely helped me listen to those people. That's the best advice I can give any young, inspiring wrestler. If you're on shows with somebody who's done very well on television, WWE, whatever, pick that person's brain. If they're nice enough to watch your match, which most guys are and most girls are, you know, just do it and get that feedback. It means more than anything, man, to learn in this business. So yeah, 14 years of doing that. I ran my own shows because, you know, because I went on the road with Axl and he wasn't getting along with MCW, kind of just parted ways. People, you know, like people around the area think we like had like this nuclear heat or something. We really just didn't. I just kind of, you know, went and did my thing with Axl and, you know, and that was it, you know, and so when ACW started, I didn't start ACW. Someone else started ACW, and they asked me to be the booker, and I got that learning experience. I didn't know how to book shows.
Got to go through it though, right?
I didn't know what I was doing. You know what I mean? I was just like, you know, like the green booker mentality. I was like, well, this be a good match. You know, no story, no, not like, this would look cool, right?
Right.
And, you know, but I would pair people up nice, you know. I was like, oh man, Black Cheese versus Shelton Benjamin. That's great, right? Like, you know? Right. So you know, which was a real match in ACW back then. But then I started like, and then Axl, again, here comes Axl. Man, you need to tell some stories here. You have some storylines. You got to have somebody hit on somebody's girlfriend or somebody, you know. It's not just like, well, he's the champion. This guy's fighting for the belt. He's like, yeah, and he would teach me that stuff about booking.
Let's get some personal issues.
Yeah, personal issues. The titles, you know, like you got to create a contender for the titles. And, you know, titles are props. You know, no one's really winning anything. Like they're props.
Get out.
Yeah, believe it or not. And, you know, and again, he helped me. I remember he was, you know, and this is like 2000. So ACW started 2009. So 2010, 11, I would go to him and he'd be like half there, half not there. But I would try to catch him when he's there and help me.
Catch the half there part. Right?
Help me write some ACW shows and get that. Again, I'm learning because I was new. I was a green booker. I had no idea how to do this shit, you know. And I learned from him, man. You know, that he would call me. Like sometimes it'd be weeks later, I wouldn't hear from him. And like, cause he was off doing whatever. And, hey man, how'd this work here on the show? How'd that work? And then, I was lucky to have him. Maybe I would never, now I don't want to say, I'm pretty decent at it now. It's, you know, on the indies, it is tough. Cause it's like, there's guys you have to get on the show because of this reason or that reason. And you got to make it all flow and, you know, and you're trying to do a show. And for me, I like to do 2 hours and 15 minutes or less. Like,
nice.
People's attention spans aren't there, man. I have like 6 to 8 matches on the show. And again, Axl taught me all that. Like, hey, man, don't overdo it. Don't book WrestleMania every show, you know?
Amen, brother.
You know, but yeah, so that was going on. And it was just a lot of that for 14 years.
Yeah.
A lot of learning from people that are on TV, a lot of just learning how to book through ACW and like I was booking myself against people at ACW that I wanted to learn from. Like I was fortunate to wrestle the Rock and Roll Express at ACW just because I wanted to learn.
Yeah.
You know, and just 14 years of that. And then Axl, you know, he died very early in 2016, February 2016. And I remember the way I found out he died was I was in Walmart. There's shopping and I get a call on my cell phone from Patrick Brink, who we all know here. And you know, and Pat and I would talk every now and then, but not all the time. So he would call me. It'd be about something. So he's calling me. I was like, I wonder what's going on. Hey, Pat, he goes, hey, man, are you okay? I'm like, I'm okay. What do you mean? Yeah, I'm fine. I'm here shopping. You know, at the time, my youngest daughter was 10 months old. And I was like getting diapers or whatever. And he's like, well, Axl died. And I'm in Walmart. And like trying not to freak out and cause a scene. He's like, yeah, he's, between a Motel 6 and McDonald's, they're on Nursery Road or wherever. And I had like a cart full of groceries, man, diapers and formula and like, food. I left it there, ran out the door and drove to the scene. And when I got to the scene, they said the ambulance just pulled off like 5 minutes before. And now I'm asking these people what happened, and the cop just hugged me. He's like, are you relative? And I just lied and said yes. So I could talk like, he goes, yeah, man, we can't. And the cop was like, we can't really. I was like, did he overdose? He's like, well, I can't confirm or whatever. He goes, but we found him here. He was passed out. I just, man, it was hard. And that was February 2016. And then the Braun Strowman match happened in July of 2016.
God dang, boy. Really?
He missed it by that much, man.
Wow.
And that to this day bothers me. He died, it's February, March, April, May, June, July, 5 months before my run started. Like,
wow.
So he didn't get to see any of it. And it's not anybody's fault, right? But it's like to this day that bothers me.
I was gonna ask you if he was around to see it, to see the start of it, anything like that. No. That's heartbreaking. That's tough.
Yeah.
That's really tough. And I'm sorry that you lost your friend.
Right. Yeah, we all go through stuff like that. It's never easy. You might see it coming, can't really prepare for it, and that's life though.
Yeah.
It sucks.
I think it's awesome though that while he was here, you got as much knowledge as possible. You procured as much because you brought up a good point to young talent out there of picking the brain of the veterans, the guys who have drawn money, asking them, please watch my match, asking them specific questions. Nobody wants to, I don't want to bother them. Famous last words, right? So, to get that, the point is to keep it, you got to give it away. Right? And that's what the old timers, whether they act standoffish or not, all of them deep down inside want somebody to come up to them and pick their brain.
Yes.
Because one day you're going to be the old guy at the show.
I'm starting to be now.
June 2016. Is that when it was the date?
July, yeah.
July 2016.
July 25th, 2016. I'm good with You
are good with dates, huh?
Yeah.
Well, you didn't do drugs.
Right. Maybe that helped. Yeah.
So you're called for enhancement work, to do extra work, whatever you want to call it. It's had many names over the years. But you tell me who called you, contacted you, and what that day was like, please.
So I've been doing extra work for a couple of years up until that point. Like I was a Rosebud with Adam Rose twice, or But man, like I kind of looked different. So I don't think they ever really wanted to put me in a match. It's just kind of fluky how it happened that day. But D. Edwards, who used to referee here, he was refereeing for WWE at the time, so he was my in to be an extra. And I to this day I appreciate Derek for that because he's my in. You have to have it in. I mean, you can email him yourself, but just like with anything else, it's easier to have it in, right? So I'd done that for a couple of years, I think, and that particular day, Braun Strowman was re-debuting. He had already been with the Wyatt family, but that was done. And he'd been gone for a little while, and they were re-debuting him as a singles wrestler.
That's right. He had the ponytail and the new gear. Okay.
And, he kind of looked like, I always said he looked like Vigo from the Ghostbusters.
Truly did. Yeah. Or the guy from Over the Top. He reminded me of it as well. But anyway, neither here nor there.
So that particular day, there's probably like 8 of us extras there. And, let me tell a story leading up to that. The day before, so that match with Strowman was in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania on Monday Night Raw. Day before, they had a pay-per-view. I think it was called Battleground. It was in DC. And I was, before that pay-per-view, I was pulled in the ring because Zack Ryder later that night was wrestling Rusev on that pay-per-view. And they pulled me in the ring just to be a crash test dummy. Essentially, Ryder was coming off the top with an elbow onto Rusev, but Rusev was going to pull in his knee, cut him off. So they practiced that on me, and Zack Ryder is a lot bigger than I am.
Yeah.
So I'm like scared to death. I'm laying there, but Arn Anderson, he's the one. He pulls me in the ring. And I'm like laying there and I'm chilling, right? I'm like, I'm scared to death, but I'm not showing it, you know. Zack Ryder comes on top, drops the elbow, I pull the legs, boom, everything's fine. I'm like, great. About to roll out of the ring, and Arn's like, hey, they need to see it one more time for the camera, like to see where we're going to place this particular spot in the match so the camera can catch it. I'm like, oh man, I got to take this again. It didn't hurt the first time. So the second time, I'm chilling even more. Second time he comes down, I'm not even sure I've ever told Zack Ryder this. Comes down the second time. And my ankle just flares up.
Oh, no.
And I didn't sell it, man.
No.
Again, not trying to sound tough, just being honest.
No, but that's what that's a situation where you have a decision to make.
I didn't sell it, so I could hardly walk. Like, and I'm just, like around ringside, it's called the bowl. And like, I sat there until they said clear the bowl, and I'm like using the guardrail to help me walk to the back, and I'm not selling it. So I got 2 more days, to be an extra.
Right.
Raw the next day and SmackDown the day after that, That pay-per-view was in D.C. Raw next day was in Pittsburgh, and then SmackDown was in Buffalo, New York. And I had 2 more days to be an extra. I'm like, man, this might be the only shot I ever have of doing something, right? I'm not selling it, man. I'm not selling it. And even though I live here in Baltimore, me and Bill Bain, who's a local guy here, real nice guy, been wrestling for 20 plus years, been extra a lot. So we drove up to Pittsburgh and stayed in a hotel. And I was like, man, stop at the 7-Eleven, get some ice, put it on my ankle and go to bed. Like, I'm like, I'm not, and I didn't even, I think I told Bill, I'm like, man, my ankle freaking hurts, right? So just slept with ice on it. Woke up, swelling went down a little bit, but I could still feel it. But I'm like, whatever. Took an Excedrin and just went to the building. And we get there, and Arn Anderson has us all lined up, and he's like, okay, everybody throw a punch. And I throw a punch. He goes, you're going to wrestle Braun Strowman tonight. We're re-debuting him.
Wait.
Yeah, just like that, right?
Was it based on the quality of your punch?
Yeah, because I had to hit him in the match.
You had to hit him, right?
Yeah.
It had to look good.
And maybe it was, honestly, it was probably because the day before he just remembered me or something. But he asked me to throw the punch first, and I threw it. And he didn't ask anybody else.
Interesting.
Yeah, he just got me in the ring, and he put the punch over. He's like, it was really good. He goes, do it on him. And I had to do it on Strowman. And he goes, okay. He's like, do it again, but lay it in a little bit, just to see if I'd be scared. Yeah. And I'm like, dude, you got one shot, right? So I laid it in, boom. And I remember Strowman said, oh, okay. I'm like, oh, right? He's going to kill me. But he's a nice guy, Strowman. So he goes, all right, well, they're going to, and this is just, he's like nonchalant saying this stuff.
Yeah.
He's just, all right, man, well, they're going to give you a promo, because we're going to do this every week with Strowman, where you get to say your last words before he kills you. This is your last words before you die, basically. Think of it that way. I'm like, so I was like, oh, I get to talk on Raw? Like, what the And so Jimmy Jacobs was the writer for the promo.
Mm-hmm.
Great guy. I'm sure you've got to work with him a little bit. So I'm reading through the promo, and I just, sometimes the worst thing you do is not ask the question, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm reading the promo, and I remember this. If you watch Rocky V, Rocky says, oh, man, I figure if you have 2 hands, you have a chance. He says that in Rocky V, word for word. Not a fighting chance, but... So I said, hey, man, I know I'm punching him twice. I said, Jimmy, can I say any man with 2 hands has a fighting chance? Because I think that's a cool line. It might fit the promo. And he goes, yeah, it sounds cool. Whatever. Say, like him. He just, whatever.
Right,
I'm like, okay. So I go out there.
Do you remember what he had originally?
It's like, wrestling on Raw is a dream come true to me. But I didn't know it was going to be against Braun Strowman.
Okay.
But if I could somehow pull off the upset, maybe, maybe I'll, if I can somehow I can imagine what that could do for my career.
Right.
So right after I say, if I could somehow pull off the upset, is when I added in, because I truly believe any man with 2 hands has a fighting chance. I can only imagine what that could do for my career. And just,
literally.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
What that line could do for your career.
So anyway, this is a great story. It really is. I love telling it, man. Match before me, and I kept the shirt on all day because I have tattoos, and sometimes, dude, I was supposed to do an enhancement talent match. I think it was like 2012 against Ryback when he was destroying 2 people at a time. I was at a pay-per-view, and I build him up. I was like, you got tattoos, we can't use you.
Cool.
So there's my dream, right? I'm not on WWE. This was on a pay-per-view too. He was doing a squash match on a pay-per-view, and so I kept my shirt on all day to cover the tattoos. I'm in Gorilla in his shirt. And Sasha Banks is winning her first world title in the ring. It was a segment or two before me, and I'm watching this. And when you're back in those days, I don't know if they do it there now. In 2016, you're not allowed to walk down the ramp. You have to walk side ramp to the ring. And I'm watching Sasha Banks, who was my favorite women's wrestler at the time. I'm watching her win her first WWE women's title or whatever on the main roster. And she comes to the back, and Stephanie McMahon's hugging her, and Vince is hugging her. And I'm like seeing all this, and they're like, "You gotta go, you gotta go." I'm like, "Oh shit," I'm like,
"Step out of it."
So I walk down the ramp, and the referee, a Spider, they call you Spider.
Spider.
So he's like looking for me, where, and I get in the ring, and he goes, "You're not supposed to walk down the ramp." I'm like, and then JoJo was the ring announcer.
Yeah.
And I remember I was like, after he said that, I got mind.
Right.
And JoJo goes, "Hey, I'm JoJo. Nice to meet you." I'm like, and that calmed me down. She was so nice. I don't know, for whatever reason. I told her
that helps.
At a signing recently. I was like, you calmed me down that day because you were just so nice.
Spider never missed an opportunity to jump on somebody's
Yeah, I like Spider, but he was like, "Yeah, you're supposed to watch." Yeah, he was right, because I was. They told me I was. He was right. So anyway, they're like, "We're back in," Byron Saxton got in the ring, who did the interview for TV.
Mm-hmm.
And he gets in the ring, he's just standing there, and then I'm just talking to JoJo. And he goes, "And we're live in 5, 4. I'm like, "Oh." and I cut the promo as Braun Strowman's walking to the ring. And I felt good about it after I said it. I go, "Oh, okay.
That went well."
I felt good,
Yeah.
So I'm like, I hope they like. And he gets in the ring, and man, when I tell you, it's like, it's a 90-second match, right? Best match I ever had. Still to this day, I haven't duplicated that performance. Best I did. I don't say I'm proud of myself a lot, because I never give myself a lot of credit. I really don't. I'm very just humbled, and I want to do better the next day, not yesterday. I had a great yesterday, but there's still tomorrow, So, this 90-second audition, right? 90 seconds to show everything that I got, and I'm not doing any moves other than 2 punches.
Because it's not for you.
No, it's for him.
Yeah.
It's for me to get him over. But the only moves I had was 2 punches, So Enzo Amore and Chris Jericho were 2 of my good friends in the business. We're in Gorilla. They had their segments coming up. So, and I didn't know these guys before this. They weren't my friends or anything before this. What I'm saying, they're my friends now. But so they're watching, and they're all kind of like, "Who's this guy?" The way I look. And they're like, "What?" Jericho told me a story. He's like, "We're all kind of like poking fun at you. Like, who's that? This guy's a wrestler?" What? And then I did this 90 seconds, and they are all like, "Holy crap, he's good." So I get to the back. Here's the best part of the story. I get to the back, and I'm all beat up. My ankle's still hurting, and he whooped my ass. And I'm not crying about it. Yeah. I'm glad he did. Again, the camera's right up on you. Got to make it look good. So I'm sore. I get to the back, and Arn, who was the agent for the match, goes, "Hey, kid, did a great job." He goes, "Vince wants to see you," which never happens for enhancement. I'm like, Vince, I'm thinking Vince is going to yell at me for walking down the ramp. Like, I'm scared to death. Yeah, I'm like, oh my God, he's going to kick me out of this building. I'm never going to be allowed here again. And I'm walking slowly up the ramp to Gorilla. I'm scared to death, man. I never met Vince. I saw him in Gorilla, but I never said hi to him. I never got a chance to talk. And why would I, right? So as I'm walking up the steps in Gorilla, he comes out of the Gorilla through the curtain. He's right there, and I'm walking up, and I look right up at it. It's just him and I. Your facial expressions were great. Your verbiage was great. Your selling was great. I have no choice but to hire you.
Wow.
And I'm thinking he's going to yell at me for walking down the ramp. And he goes, go to talent relations. He's like, Karan will explain the rest to you. Went back, put his headset on, and started. And Triple H came out and ran down. He goes, "Hey, man, he's serious. Like, just, do you want a job here?" I said, I thought about it for a second. And I was like, yeah, this is my dream, of course. Once all Carano, they had me sign a paper that night, essentially saying that I am going to sign. Of course, you got to
letter of intent. Yeah,
letter of intent. You got to go through the background check. You got to go through the physical and all that. But I signed, and I'm like, why am I signing this now? Like, I'm just an indie wrestler. He goes, "Man, you never know. Somebody could be calling you this week trying to get you on their TV. We don't know." And I'm like, yeah, right, whatever. Ring of Honor contacted me that week, because they were in Baltimore,
Yep.
And it's just like, man, that's a crazy story, right?
That's insane. You show up, limping ain't easy, right? You show up with a bum ankle, trying to fade the bum ankle, trying to hide it, scared to death that you're going to blow your opportunity. You get the chance to be in there for this match that's for this guy they're putting a ton of money behind.
90-second match.
90-second match.
You know?
And you make a small error in judgment because your mind was elsewhere walking down the ramp.
Yeah, it's being a mark.
Being a mark, right, yeah, being a mark.
For Sasha Banks, I was just being a mark.
It happens. And you get summoned by the Emperor afterwards.
Yeah.
And he says, I have no choice but to hire you. That's f***ing insane.
I couldn't believe it, man. And people think I got hired because of the internet, because there was all these memes of me, and that might have helped him put me in the spot he put me in, but like, he hired me before that ever happened. Like before, like the memes that all happened that night, but he hired me literally a minute after the match.
Incredible.
Dude, like, and a lot of people, from what I hear, because you hear things, are like, why are we going to hire this guy? And
Sure.
And Vince is like, Vince is the only guy in the history of wrestling to make billions of dollars with a B off of wrestling. No one else has done it. So WCW never did it. No one's done it.
Right.
No one. And it's just him. So he's the greatest mind of all time, and no one can argue that.
Right.
They're the proof's in the pudding, right?
Yeah.
And he just, whatever reason, like, man, this guy looks different. He does a good job. He can talk. And then, it worked out.
Perfect storm, man.
And he was always so upfront with me and real with me, and I appreciate that. But like, going back to that match, man, bum angle from the day before. That's, again, goes back to bow breakers. Like, there's be times where, like, man, my shoulder hurts. I can't show them, or they're gonna, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, absolutely.
So again, that toughness.
Yeah.
And then it goes to, because you're talking about this 14 years I had in between. It goes to same people: Matt Hardy, Ricky Morton, Shane Douglas, Axl Rotten, all these guys. Facial expressions. Tell the story with your face. All I did in that match.
Yeah.
Sell, like, don't get right up things, sell that it hurts. You're small. Like, you got to sell your ass off. Vince told me, your facial expressions are great. Your verbiage was great, was the talking, and your selling was great. That's the three things he said. I'm like, my God, like, thank God I listen to people.
Yeah.
And then, man, sometimes I'll come to the dressing rooms to this day, everywhere I go, all over the world. I wrestle indies all over the world. And I see, like, man, like, let's say I see, like a Tony Atlas, who's been in business 50 years, in the dressing room. Yeah. And no one's asking him questions.
Crazy, right?
Like, what? Or Ricky Morton.
Insane.
Or like these guys that have been around forever that are still here. And like you said, you nailed it. Happy to have someone come up. I get like that, man. Like, I'm happy when because I have people every now and then, can you watch my match? I'm happy to do it, man. And just whatever knowledge I may have, I don't have all the answers. Maybe I do have some because of where I've been and things I've done. Like, no one has all the answers. But, man, maybe I can give you something that you didn't have before that may help you going forward. And, it's everybody should be doing it.
It's a very important component of this thing of ours is the people who came before teaching those who have come after. And I think there's a break in that link now where I've said this before on here, but it's almost like they throw the baby out with the bathwater because those old timers were drinking beer, shooting road signs, and they were toxic. So they, instead of picking their brains and taking the knowledge they have, and like, maybe I don't need to raise hell like that, but they can tell me how to draw money. Take the good with the bad, right?
Absolutely.
They just don't talk to them at all. Don't ask them at all. Don't offer them their seats. I know that's old school, but there's a reason it's been around forever. It's because it's the way it should be. We're fortunate to know that, I think.
You nailed it, because again, I didn't partake in some of the things that Axl did.
Right.
But I still loved learning from him. Like you say, the shooting barrels and all. I didn't do that.
Yeah.
Luckily, it was always there.
Right.
I just didn't have any interest. Like, luckily for me, man, I'm not, sticking my nose up at it.
No one's saying that.
I'm just lucky that I didn't have any interest in it.
Yeah.
Thank God, and that's just a fortunate thing because it was always there,
Right.
But yeah, and I can't reiterate enough that I think everyone should, if they see somebody that's been successful doing this and have done it for a living and have traveled for the world, please pick the brain. If they're being an ass, okay, leave them alone. Mm-hmm. But if they're ready, willing, and able to give you this advice and this information that they've gotten over 20 plus years or whatever, television or what, take it, man.
And listen. Don't do the thing where you're saying, hey, can I pick your brain just because you think that's the thing you should be saying. Actually listen.
Actually,
You know? So things get even crazier here because you find yourself in the mix for the WWE Championship. You're in this, like, what the Jimmy? Like,
how's life work, right?
you're right. Like you say, if I remember correctly, it was Dean Ambrose, John Moxley, and some guy who hasn't done much named AJ Styles.
Jobber.
And they were, the WWE title, the big one was hanging in the balance, and you find yourself almost a pawn in that. What you are, though, is actually a story device. You are a catalyst.
Yeah, I'm helping the story.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Can you talk a little bit about that particular feud and any memories or interactions with those guys?
Man, greatest time in my career. So yeah, like July 25th, I write this thing that I'm going to get hired. So, a month goes by because I'm having to do physicals. And thank God, because I had this ankle problem. You know what I mean? But like, so I didn't do a physical until a month after that. They didn't get it scheduled. But they're like sending me ideas. Like the first idea I ever got in my email is, hey man, Heath Slater's doing this thing where he didn't get drafted in the draft. The draft happened the week before that I did the Strowman match. Where people get drafted Raw and people get drafted SmackDown. And Heath Slater's gimmick was he didn't get drafted at all, which was great for him. People remember who got drafted first and who didn't get drafted, right? They call me, think about this, man, and this is the roller coaster ride, especially there. They call me, hey, man, our idea for you is you to wrestle Heath Slater at SummerSlam, and the winner gets a SmackDown contract. And you're going over, right? So I'm hearing this idea. I'm going to be on SummerSlam, and I'm winning, A week before SummerSlam, hey man, Vince wants to use you as a babyface. He wants to use Slater as a babyface. So we're not doing the match. Okay. I'm like, oh, So they're like, we're going to book you for SmackDown in Philadelphia. Well, that's a very smart town, obviously. They're going to, if that's your first appearance, you're going to get a great reaction. Like, I'm like, cool. So I go to SmackDown in Philadelphia. An hour and 45-minute drive from my house. I'm like, oh man, traveling's never going to be this easy again. But
savor the flavor. Right.
So we get to Philadelphia, and they're like, so the angle for the night was AJ's WWE champion. He just won the belt, I think, the night before, 2 nights before. He just beat. It was weird. He beat Dean Ambrose at a B pay-per-view at like Backlash or something. Yeah. Very strange, right? Yeah. But whatever. He's the champ. It's great because. Back then, Raw and SmackDown were separate shows, so they wanted to write SmackDown so differently, and man, was it great for those couple of years. But so we get there, and the story for the night was AJ is looking for a partner to face John Cena and Dean Ambrose in a tag team match, and the gimmick was if you can't find a partner, they're going to appoint him a partner. And Daniel Bryan was the acting general manager. Was the story, and that was his part back then. So AJ, because he's a heel, nobody wanted to team with him. So right before the main event, Daniel Bryan goes, AJ, have you found a partner? No. Who do you got for me? And he pulls me into the screen. And dude, like that was like the first pop, right, I ever got from me. I didn't, and I heard, and dude, thank God it was in Philly, because some of the smartest wrestling fans in the world. Right. They all knew who I was, from the Strowman match, from the internet memes, big pop. And I was like, man. And I, didn't sell the pop, right? You can't sell that either. You can't sell the good, the bad, or the ugly. Don't sell anything. Don't sell another great piece of advice. Don't sell nothing, right? So I heard the pop, right? It was live. Thinking to myself, man, I wonder if anybody cared that I just got that pop. Yeah. Getting Gorilla. And I became really cool with this guy, and I love him, man. I miss him. I haven't talked to him in a while. I'm probably going to try to figure out a way to talk to him soon. Shane McMahon's the girl. Did you hear that pop? Putting the pop over. I'm like, thank God. But so the story was, as I'm coming to the ring for my entrance, The Miz comes out, beats me up, takes my spot. He's AJ's partner. So I didn't get to wrestle John Cena that night. I was all pumped for that. Right. They didn't have any plans for me. Vince said, hey, we're putting this guy on television. Just, I wasn't, that's good and bad. Good because now I'm on television, right, on SmackDown. Bad because I'm taking someone's spot.
I was going to ask you about this. Yeah.
So at first, people were like side-eyeing me, and they were. I didn't go through NXT. I wasn't anyone's friend. I was this guy. Vince just hired this guy. Now we have to. I don't know who it was. Now this guy can't have TV time because this guy needs that. Vince is making us have this guy be on television. So I always tell everyone, I wish I went through NXT first because they got time and money invested in people who did, and that's longevity. You know?
Yeah.
Me, I'm like essentially a stepchild that got adopted, and and like now I'm part of the family right away. Like
A cameo kind of deal, right?
Yeah, and that's on TV every week.
Every week, right?
Every week. So the Miz thing happens, and they tell me afterwards, hey, so in a couple of weeks, he beats you up. So, we're going to have you sell that for a couple of weeks. You're not going to be on TV, but when you come back, you're going to wrestle Miz for the Intercontinental title. So, and that SmackDown was in San Jose. So now it's not an hour, 45-minute drive. It's a 5-hour flight. And I'm on the flight, man. I'm watching every Miz match on YouTube. Like just trying to get ready to wrestle the Miz,
right?
Which, would be easy. You would think, Miz is great. I get to the building. And I get out of the car, and Adam Pearce is like, what if I told you were beating the WWE Champion tonight? And I go, I would call you and I knew Adam from the Indies. I was like, I'd call you a damn liar. And he goes, I wouldn't lie to you. And he walked away. I'm like, whatever. I thought they were messing with me. And I come in, I sit down and cater, and AJ Styles sits. He goes, hey, man, you and I tonight, meet me around the bowl at 2:00. I'm looking at it. I still didn't believe it. I'm like, whatever. I'm wrestling the Miz, And so anyway, I go around the bowl at 2:00. Arn Anderson's the agent for the match. Again, my guy Arn, great guy.
He is really.
So talking about knowledge. Whew. And he goes, hey, so Ambrose is going to be the referee, this non-title match. AJ's picking his opponent. He picks you. He thinks it's funny. But then Daniel Bryan makes Ambrose the ref. And I go, I know wrestling, right? I'm like, holy shit, I am beaten. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm about to pin the WWE champion, right? So, yeah, I'm like, what? So then when I say, we all get nervous, right? This is the most nervous I've ever been in my life because this is AJ Styles. This is one of the best in-ring performers, probably at the time, the best in-ring performer in the world. He's WWE champion. He's AJ Styles, been doing it for 20 plus years. Everyone respects him, and my goofy little butt's going to go there with him. Like, that's what I'm thinking, right? And I'm like super nervous, and I didn't know AJ that well. Like, I met him a few times, but it's always nice, but I'm shaking, dude. I'm like, the whole night, I'm like going crazy, pacing the floors, and he was great to work with, by the way. I got more comfortable each time I worked with him, and by the last time we worked, it was so comfortable, and I loved the guy, man. Going back to that was the greatest time of my career. That story, I don't know, like, if I'll ever be in a story that great again, where the story's him and Ambrose for the title, but they had to go a couple of months with it. So I'm the guy in between fighting AJ for the belt, causing chaos, running into matches, doing all this stuff. Like, to be like the glue that kept that feud together. Again, they have to continuously, they don't have ideas for me. No. They have to keep writing ideas for me. And luckily, we're overseas somewhere. And the story that goes, the girls are all in the locker room, and they're all just talking about me. Like, oh, this guy's nice. He's funny, And I think it was Alexa Bliss goes, I wonder what they're going to do with him next after the AJ, Ambrose storyline. Oh, I wonder if they'll put him with one of us, because they like doing it. And Carmella didn't say anything. But Carmella comes to me and goes, hey, what do they have for you after this? Do you know? I said, I don't know nothing. She goes, well, when we get back to the States, I'm going to go pitch Vince you being with me. And it's like.
That planted the seed in her,
dude,
Alexa?
Yes, yeah. Alexa just saying that. And she, went to Vince and pitched the idea. And he just loved it. Like, hey, I'm going to pretend like I like him to get him to help me win matches. Because she was like, they didn't have an angle for her either. She probably, she was like doing jobs to Nikki Bella all the time on the house shows and on TV. Like, they had nothing for her, really. She'd work with Enzo and Kaz and NXT, but not ever on the main roster. They were on Raw. She was on SmackDown. It was sink or swim time, and so I'm over at the time, right? Number one selling t-shirt that, I always think about, man, it was the number one selling t-shirt. They never made another one. Like, most likely I wasn't the guy that was supposed to be selling the most t-shirts.
Yeah, right.
Because they do pick and choose who's supposed to be selling them.
Yeah.
They made it as a joke, and they're like, wait, this ain't funny. He's selling a lot of them.
That's hilarious.
It's because of the story I was on.
Right.
AJ, I'm the main event storyline.
Yeah. Yeah. So they, you turn heel with Carmella. And it's a really interesting, funny dynamic.
Yeah.
I remember, I think the height of it for you may have been the WrestleMania debut, probably, which was crazy to see Jimmy Dream at WrestleMania. Which
who would have thunk it, right?
So, but
Oh, it's great.
That's wrestling and that's life.
You
and
never know,
you
man.
never know.
You got to keep just going. If you keep going, you'll know where going's going to take you. If you stop, you know where stop ends.
Yeah.
But you don't know where going. Like, even to this day, I'm still going, right, after all of it. And I don't know where it's taking me. I'm just going.
Yeah.
So
the moment I remember the most, I think, and a lot of people do, is the Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
You're the first man to win the women's Money in the Bank.
That was the first ever women's money.
The first ever. Tell me about that day.
That was a funny day. So I remember before that, it was so I remember the writers telling me, hey, we don't know how long this Carmella thing's gonna be. It could be 6 weeks, it could be 6 months. But if you want it to be more 6 months, you're gonna have to get it over. And man, we had this meeting with Vince. It was the week before WrestleMania. And all we'd been doing is I was helping her beat the enhancement talent girls. Just the indie girls that no one knew. So the crowd wasn't giving it any heat. They thought it was funny. Because they don't know these girls. They're not over. Like, they're not girls on TV.
No emotional connection to them.
No emotional connection to these girls. All great girls that she worked with. And they would be so nervous. And luckily, I came for being extra talent, so I would help those girls. I'd be like, hey, just enjoy this. Have fun. And so yeah, I'm just helping her beat these extra talent. And it was funny, right? And the crowd's laughing and clapping. And, we're getting babyface reactions on the house shows, putting in the house show report. And we get in Vince's office, and, I always got a kick out of working for Vince McMahon. I'm like, this is, I'm a teenager in the Attitude Era, right? So I'm like, Vince McMahon's the best heel of all time. He was entertaining as hell with Stone Cold, So every time I'd see it, I'm like, this is my dude right here. He gave me my dream. I'd always tell him when I went to that SmackDown in Philly, I was like, hey, man, thank you. I'm going to work very hard for you. So I have no doubt you will, So he pulls Carmella and I in the office week before WrestleMania, the SmackDown before WrestleMania, and goes, how do we get some heat out of this? You guys are getting babyface reactions. And she's like scared to say anything. I've been in the business 15, now we're going with 15 years. Yeah. And not that I'm Mr. Tough Guy. You have to say what you feel if you feel like it's the right thing.
Because you might not get another opportunity to do so.
So I go, well, sir, I think, once I help her beat one of the girls on the main roster that people care about, get some heat. And, he's got this whole show to pay attention to. We're very low on the totem pole at this point. I'm not in the main event scene anymore or nothing, He goes, so he looks at Road Dogg, who's writing the show. He goes, what are they doing tonight? And it was Carmella against Becky. And the finish was supposed to be, I hop the apron to distract Becky. And Carmella charges her, and Becky moves out of the way and hits me. Or Carmella hits me, and I fall on the floor, and she turns around and disarm her attempts. That was the finish we were told before we had this meeting. So Road Dogg tells Vince that, and Vince looks at the ceiling. Switch it to Ellsworth helping Carmella beat Becky. Let's see how it goes. And you know how wrestling is. They're all joking around, like, Road Dogg goes to Becky. Plans changed. Ellsworth politic to get the finish switch. Just joking around, right? And I'm like, and Becky's great. And so I help her win. I tripped her or whatever, and Carmella, but she takes a face bump, and Carmella does whatever and wins. We heard the boos. I'm like, man, it's really that simple, right? But he's not. Vince ain't thinking about this because we're so low on the totem pole.
Sure.
So it was one of those yes moments. We get to the back, and Vince's like, did you hear that? That was great. Just shakes my hand real big. And I'm like, hey, Carmella's like, thank you so much. I'm like, because she wasn't speaking up. She was scared,
Right.
Me, I'm 15 years. I'm here with lightning in the bottle. Whatever. I'm just gonna keep this going as long as I can. Right.
Feeling like nothing to lose, everything to gain.
Yeah, because maybe he writes us off of TV because it's not working, and then I'm gone.
Then you're gone.
Like that. So then fast forward to Money in the Bank. We get there, and so Laurinaitis pulls me to the office with Vince, and he's like, hey, Vince and I have been arguing about this. What do you think? And arguing about what? He goes, well, Vince wants you to climb the ladder, grab the briefcase, throw it down to Carmella, and that's the finish. He's like, I'm telling Vince, this is the first ever women's Money in the Bank, and we can't do this. We can't. And Vince goes, God damn it, that's why we do it. That's why we do it. And they're like, and Vince is like, yeah, well, people, it's funny, internet, right? People think they did the second one 2 weeks later on SmackDown because the first one got so much heat and bad heat or whatever. So Vince at that meeting goes, yeah, we'll do a second one 2 weeks later, a pop rating on SmackDown. We'll get a rating out of this, and this will create controversy. That dude, a genius, right? And Lauren is, what do you think, James? Just your honest opinion. Be honest. Don't put him over because you just up. So no, I think it's a great idea. And then we leave the office. And Lauren's like, you kiss ass. Just like burying me. Like, what? Even if I didn't agree with it, which I did. I did agree with the finish. Even if I didn't, I still would have said I agree with it. I ain't gonna lie. So we go out.
I mean, sorry. How did John get his job? So let's just be clear.
All right. I don't know. So we go out there, and if you go back and watch the clip, as I'm climbing a ladder, the people are going nuts. I really think, and the people's mind, they thought I was going to grab it, take it down myself, and like maybe take off with it through the crowd or when I have it. I think that as I'm climbing the ladder, because they're doing the yes, and popping. As soon as I dropped it to her, boom, the fucking booze. Because that's the heat.
Yeah.
I'm not taking it. I'm giving it to this girl that I think cares about me. Right? That was a great story. It was a great story that had like a dumb ending, but like the Carmella and I story was great. The ending's stupid, but like so I give her the money back. The booze come down, And then, like SmackDown the following week, they popped the rating. The ratings went up because we had the second one, which I sort of helped her win too, but I didn't grab it and hand it to her. Like I interfered, caused a distraction.
Yeah.
But then, man, like Carmella from then, because she was a great talker too. She could talk. She had great look, obviously. Always had good gear. Loved working with her. Still talk to her to this day. Very happy that she's happy in life, has kids and a husband now, and I'm very happy for her. Man, what a time. Like,
what a time.
It was like they said 6 weeks to 6 months. Her and I did 13 months of television.
Golly.
Yeah.
It was that long.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And
what about the WrestleMania walk down the aisle? What did that mean to you?
Everything, man. I remember thinking, cool. Well, here's a story about that, and you go back and you can read about this. The girls' match. It was like a 6-pack challenge for the women's title, right? Get all the girls on the show.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be on the pre-show. And I remember when it was on the pre-show thinking, I'm not really on WrestleMania.
Yeah.
I'm on the pre-show. This ain't going to be on the DVD. This ain't the actual show. It's kind of like these days when they go, some guys go, I'm a WrestleMania main eventer. But they main event at night one.
Yeah.
They're always going to put the most important match on night 2 last. Cody and Roman would have never wrestled each other on night 1, right?
Never.
The main event to me, my humbled opinion, is always night 2, the last match. So anyway, and that's how I thought about this. I was like, the pre-show, this sucks. Like, I'm not on the real show. I was like, maybe next year. I got to work hard to get on here next year. But I remember they had that hashtag Women's Revolution.
Mm-hmm.
And Becky's the one that went to the office. It was like, and they're trying to sell it to us. I was in this meeting. They're trying to sell to us, more people are going to see you guys because you're on the USA Network before WrestleMania. More people have cable than pay-per-view.
They're trying to sell you a bill of goods.
She goes, okay, well, for instance, like the main event that night was Undertaker and Roman Reigns. Like, for instance, you wouldn't put Undertaker and Roman Reigns on the USA Network. You wouldn't put, like, Shane McMahon wrestled AJ Styles. Why don't you put Shane and AJ on the USA Network? You want, and it was Becky. No one else spoke up.
Yeah,
Becky
she had the balls,
dude, and that's why she's been so successful, man. People I think really respect that straight fire she really has. And she's very passionate, and that's why she's done terrifically well. So essentially, they put Ambrose and Baron Corbin, the Intercontinental title match, on the pre-show, and the Andre the Giant Battle Royal on the pre-show, which I was bummed out I wasn't in that either. Until somebody, I think it was Brian Myers, Kurt Hawkins at the time, said, dude, you're on the, because they switched us to the regular show. He goes, you're on the regular show, which means you're going to get double the money that we're making, and you're going to be on the DVD, which means you're going to get royalties.
So quit bitching.
Yeah, quit bitching about not being this freaking battle royal, you little mark, And so anyway, so we went on right before, we were like that cold match between the main the real semi-main event, and then the semi-main event, and then the Undertaker. We're one before Undertaker and Roman.
Where the women a lot of times got stuck in WrestleMania.
And you know what's cool about that? This goes back to what we talked about earlier. Mickie James was in that match.
Oh, wow.
Mickie James was my first match in front of people. And now she's involved in the WrestleMania match that I'm in. Like, this is crazy.
You got a crazy story, dude.
So, we're out there, and dude, I spoke up. They were rehearsing the match. I'm thinking to myself, man, how can I fit into this? How can I get a moment?
Yeah.
So I go to Becky, the one with the balls, right? And I go, hey, when you T-bone suplex Carmella, is there any way I could slide in and try to sneak you with the no chin music, which is my version of the super kick, and you catch it and you give me a T-bone suplex too, just like you did Carmella. I was like, maybe that'll be a good moment. She's like, that's a great moment. And Fit Finlay was the agent. She went over to Fit. She goes, hey, I'm going to do this with Ellsworth. And and they have to clear it, right?
Yeah.
And he cleared it. And, you know, I remember the day off, he goes, hey, I don't know if we're going to have time for that spot. He goes, but Vince in the meeting, like Fit Finlay said, oh, I don't know if we have time for that. And Vince like, no.
Put that in there.
That's got to be in there. Makes it different. So I got to do the spot, man. Like, got to take a little T-bone, got a big moment at WrestleMania. And, man, you know, you don't know when those moments are ever going to come again, if they ever come again. Like, and obviously I didn't know it was ever going to come at all. And but you can't get on a bigger show. And it meant the world to me. I didn't sleep like the night before or that night. And obviously a dream come true for sure.
Once the WWE run came to a close, did you have any trouble reacclimating to the indie scene as now someone with a name?
Right.
Who can, charge before negotiating your fee is it's a completely different ballgame, right?
Yeah. And that was again a roller coaster ride. So November 2017. They were doing like this angle with the Carmella and I, and it was getting stale because she had the money in the bag, and we don't know when she's cashing it in. What does she need me for? She's got this briefcase. So they're like, we don't really have anything for you right now, so I have to let you go. And I'm like, they're like, bud, you're a character that we can always bring back. So like they gave me that talk, but I'm like bummed out, right? So you go on that 90-day cycle where where they're still paying you, you're still under contract. Well, day 84 of that 90-day cycle, they call me. And they're like, hey, man, we're going to continue your contract and bring you back for, and they go, WrestleMania. And I'm like, awesome. And I'm like, okay, so I have to tell all these indie dates. Like, no, when I'm coming back, they're like, no, continue, keep your indie dates. We're not bringing you back to WrestleMania. Go do them, and then we'll figure it out from there. So the 90 days were up, and they were like, kayfabe it. Don't tell anybody. So I go do all these indie dates, knowing I'm going back, and they're still paying me. So I'm like double dipping. Up. And I remember the news Sid Cara found out about it. And he's like, wait, you're working here and you're going, like, yeah, I don't know. Like, it's just one of those weird things because I'm the stepchild. So they called me a couple weeks before, no, probably a month before WrestleMania. Okay, Vince has this idea. The Bar is the tag champion, Sheamus and Cesaro. And Braun Strowman was facing them, and he's gonna find a partner to win the tag titles at WrestleMania.
Oh man!
And like Mark Carano's like, he's like, the idea is, you'll be sitting in the crowd, hat frontwards, head down. We'll sneak you out there the match before, head down, and Braun Strowman's gonna find you in the crowd, and you're eating a hot dog, and he's gonna see you and smile, and you look up, and you have mustard on your face, and Braun Strowman just grabs you, and he puts you, and. Like,
right.
That's where we're going with. They didn't say, oh, you're going to win the tag titles, but obviously, that was probably what
that would have been really good.
Dude, I'm thinking I'm going to win the tag team titles at WrestleMania. So they called me a couple weeks before WrestleMania. Hey, we're going in their direction, and we feel like Carmella needs you. Like she's about to win the belt, she's about to cash in, and once she wins it, we need you to come back and help her through her title reign. Like she needs some heat. I'm going, wait, I don't get to win the tag title at WrestleMania. Is what I'm thinking. But I'm being professional. I'm like. Okay, thank you. Can't wait to come back. But they were paying me every week. Like, and I'm getting a paycheck. Yeah. So they instead of ending my contract or that 9 days, it just continued. And I'm on the indies making money. And like you said, man, I was always fair with people. I came up with 3 sets of prices. I said, pay me this and let me keep my autograph picture money, or pay me this and we split it, or pay me this and you keep it all. I had 3 because, man, I ran shows. I know, like I see. And still to this day, I'm in this position where I see both sides. I see the promoter side and I see the wrestler side because I am both, and I've been both for a long time. And man, I'll tell you what, I feel bad for every promoter in the wrestling business, every single one, because man, what a thankless job. So when you're a promoter in wrestling, 90% of the people in the area you're promoting do not like you because you're not using them on shows. And then here's the kicker. 90% of the people on the shows do not like you because you're not using them the way they think they should be used. So
well said.
You're just like, dude, it's a thankless job. And without promoters, where are you going to work?
Right.
And like, man, and a talent can just go on Twitter and bury a promoter, and everyone's going to side with them, especially if it's former WWE talent or whatever.
It's the evil promoter with the cigar and the lying and the
And to me, man, like a promotion like MCW been around forever, right? Like, you know, you should give that a little respect. Like, hey, obviously these guys know what they're doing. They've been around forever. Or like ACW been around for going on 17 years.
Yeah.
Like, if a promotion's been around 10 years plus, for more than a decade, and they're bringing in names all the time, and they're running constantly,
Put a little respect on it.
give them a little respect, man. They've done it. They're and they keep doing it. They're thriving. Like, yeah, like, you know, if you're figuring if you go to a show and you want to promote or have an agreement, and the promoter breaches that agreement and the show doesn't pay you, then and then be mad. But if you agree to something and you're not happy about it, like before the show ever happens, then you just do what you agreed to and then move on, right?
Yeah.
Like that. It's just such a thankless job, and you know, I just feel bad because, like I said, any talent can just go on Twitter. All this promoter got over on me, or you know, carding me, and then it doesn't matter if it's true or not. Boom, you're F you, right? It's terrible, but yeah. So I would be fair, man, and like especially to people that used me before WWE. I would give them, because man, like without those reps, where am I? You know, like so I would hustle, man. Like a lot of times I would do tours in Canada or go over to the UK and just wrestle, you know, 4 or 5 days a week and just save all the money. I have kids, you know, like it's not my money, it's my kids' money. Like, you know, I don't need anything. I grew up with nothing. I don't need anything. So that was my mentality.
Is James Ellsworth the luckiest wrestler alive?
Man, what a great question. I feel like it. I feel like, man, again, I'm 5'7". I'm 170 pounds. I don't look like I belong on GQ magazine or People's Magazine or anything of that nature. But man, I do feel like I'm the luckiest wrestler. Yes, because I've had a blessed, great run, and I really appreciate that I got to have that run. And I do feel lucky, blessed, and fortunate that I've achieved all that, and you know, whether it was some luck or some knowledge, it happened. And yes, it was very lucky. But again, you know, I'm still going, and I'm gonna find a way to get over again. I'm going to, like, and it goes back to, like, you know, when I would come up in wrestling, oh, you're too small, you're too skinny, you're not, you know, good looking, you're not, one ear out the other. Now you hear, oh, you're never going back to WWE, you're never this, you're never that. And I'm like, well, you know, going forward, I think what I did with Carmella, be a heater, be a manager, I can talk, I got a sleazy manager look. I can do that till I'm 65. There's a lot of time between now and then. I'm going to get back there somehow. You know what I mean? That's, I always look forward. I had a great run. I appreciated it. Yes, very lucky.
James, what would you say is the biggest adversity that you've faced in your career?
Well, man, it's a lot of that, a lot of just ignorance, and people, like, I hate the word jealousy, because none of us should be jealous of the other. What I mean by that is, we get 85 years or less on this earth. We're all doing the job at the end of the day. So, you know what I mean? Like, what? Don't be jealous of anyone. Just try to be the best version of you. Try to make you happy on a daily basis, man. Like, you know, I'm very blessed that, like, I have a beautiful wife who's really good to me, and I have my kids. I love I have a great family. First and foremost, like I said, it's the most important thing. But that, like, the jealousy and the, you know, just the ignorance, and, you know, and like lies, and you know, there's a lot of it, right? Because of who you become to people. And now you're a target for all those things, you know. And am I a perfect person? No, but I'm a very nice person. I'm a very humble person. I'm, you know, like, and like I said earlier, like, if I'm nice to you and you're nice to me, we're great. And if you're not nice to me, I'm walking away. I have never put you or anyone else in a position that they didn't want to be in. And if I did, I would apologize on the spot, right? Like, and, you know, but yeah, the adversity would be that. Like, now you have this fandom, and you're a target of all these things, the jealousy, the lies about you, the, you know, oh, he said this, or you're under a microscope. Even to this day, I've been off TV for like 6.5 years, like, or whatever. You know, like, let's say I meet a wrestling fan at Walmart, right? They come up. So right away, you're working. If you're a dick to that person, then they're gonna write online that you're a dick, and now you're a dick. And maybe I was just like had a cold and I don't want to shake your hand because I'm sick. But that, so yeah, you just gotta, you're just under a microscope, and that, and that's the adversity, right? Like, it doesn't matter if you're a good person, bad person, or anything in between. You're 24/7. You have to be on. Like, and to this day, because I have a memorable look, and if I'm at Target or Walmart, somebody's a wrestling fan. Oh, I remember you. Da da da. And you got to be nice, and I am. But everybody has bad days and stuff, and or if you don't give people the attention that they think they deserved or they wanted, then all of a sudden, like, you're an ass, you're this or you're that, or you did this or you did, and it could just be not true. And but again, you ignore the ignorance, and you don't owe anything to anybody, really. If you're a good person and you have the background check, to show it, like, then you don't owe anybody an explanation for anything. You just to me, man, like, am I a perfect person? No. But am I a good person? Yes. I'm a good father, first and foremost. I'm a good husband, and I try to be good to everyone. And that's the best I can do. And sometimes, like, people aren't going to see that and put that over. And that's okay,
As we're getting ready to close here, James, I want to ask you what I ask people at the end of these interviews, and it's, you're dead. You die. You're gone.
Oh, it's going to happen. Believe it or not, even to me.
The TV legend has moved on to the great tube in the sky. Your memorial show, the In Run.
Yeah.
Who is in the main event of James Ellsworth's memorial show? No rules.
No rules. Well, hopefully while I'm laying there in the casket or the coffin, I'm wearing that WWE Hall of Famer, because I am a future WWE Hall of Famer.
Absolutely.
It's what I use on the Indies now, right? And which
Crazy.
people are like, what does he think? He thinks he's a future Hall of Famer. It's a great line, right? I'm getting that over. I think it says it on this t-shirt. But who's at my memorial show, man? Whew. Well, my kids, first and foremost, my wife, that's sad to even think about. What the hell kind of questions? My wife, my kids. It's a great question, because you could ask it to anybody. And like, I would hope anybody that's older than me, I have a little bit more of a run then, because that's not fair. They got to live longer,
No rules. Let's say you can have any main event you want.
Main event. Who's the main event of? Oh, okay. Now I get the question. Who's the main event of my memorial show? Simple, man. It's Jon Moxley as Dean Ambrose versus AJ Styles, and Carmella is the special referee. Bam.
There it is, right?
Bam.
There it is. Perfect answer to the question. James, where can they find you on social media and keep up with your content, your bookings, your happenings, and whatnot?
Yeah, so with X or Twitter, what do they call it now?
A little bit of both.
Yeah, it's at Real Ellsworth. Then Instagram's James Ellsworth Wrestling. TikTok's James Ellsworth WWE. Facebook, just look up James Ellsworth. Yeah, man, I keep it positive everywhere.
Right.
Like, if people want to fight or whatever, I'm just like, and if we have a friendly fight about a football game or a baseball, I'm all about that.
Yeah.
Or a wrestling angle.
Sure.
But if we're fighting about some stuff that they really don't know about, I'm just like, ignore the ignorance and keep moving. But man, I just want to keep going. I still enjoy wrestling on Indies. I enjoy running my shows. All the stuff I've been doing the whole time.
Where can they find ACW?
So acwtix.com is our website where you can see all the shows. Then there's a Adrenaline Wrestling MD on Instagram. Same thing on TikTok, and Adrenaline Championship Wrestling on Facebook.
And you guys do the King of Maryland tournament.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah. So we do that every December now. We like it to be our last show of the year.
Yeah.
And we've had some good people win it, man. We TJ Perkins has won it.
Adam Cole did.
Rich Swann has won it.
Did he?
Yeah.
Adam Cole?
No, Adam Cole didn't win it. So Shane Strickland won it. Maybe that's who you're thinking of. Yeah.
Okay.
Swerve, he's won it.
I think I saw Adam. Did he compete in one?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
That's what I saw.
Ruckus, who's a household Maryland wrestling name. Yeah. Chris Slade won it last year, and then he went on to win the Shamrock Cup this year. What a great young talent he is, man. Just has good looking kid. He could do anything. Very humble guy. So hopefully he gets to run somewhere one day because, you know, he probably could. But yeah, so again, I still love running shows. I still love competing here at MCW. I'm doing some good stuff right now. Boy Arrow. I just call him Arrow.
Arrow Stoat. Yeah,
Arrow Stoat. And I hope we get some, you know, like I help him progress on the card.
Sure.
Because that's my job. I'm teaming with him. I'm also managing him on some shows. And that's what was my mentality with Carmella. All right, I'm gonna get this girl over. Because that's why they're putting her with me. So I gotta do what I can to get them over. And I'll get over in the process, whatever, but I'm going to get them over. You know?
Get over getting them over.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
But that's my job is to get Arrow Stoat over.
Do you have any parting words, Jimmy?
Well, so I'm just, man, you gotta keep fighting, man. If you have this dream, you know, everything we talked about, you got to have the thick skin. You got to be humbled. You got to remember at the end of the day, any man with two hands has a fighting chance.
Damn. Yeah. We ain't getting no higher than that. I want to thank my guest, James Ellsworth, the future WWE Hall of Famer in the house. And I want to thank you guys for watching. This has been Limpin' Ain't Easy, but it sure beats crawling. We'll see you next time.
Always a pleasure.
Thanks, brother. All right, are we recording? We rolling? Do I look like a midget?
No. How tall are you?
How short am I? Is the question.
No, that would be the proper way of putting that question.
5. Well, according to Tinder, I'm about 5'7".
Yeah, well, Tinder.
Yeah,
Your Tinder.
That's 5. Probably 5'5".
5'3".
5. If you straightened out my spine, I'd be about 6 foot. So. Anyway, you ready to get going?
Let's roll.
Hey, you jabronis. Hope you enjoyed the show. Don't forget to click subscribe to the YouTube channel and podcast. This has been Limpin' Ain't Easy. It's wrestling as real as it gets.